Hi. So I have money trauma, and it made running my small business a pit of anxiety. So I spent 3 months taking a tax class, and then I spent 3 months working at an H&R Block. So I have money trauma because I am the child of immigrants who survived a war. So they couldn't read tax forms. And anytime we spent any money, it was really like an emotionally charged experience. So I just picked up on a lot of that programming, and I realized I was carrying it with me as I was running a small business. And I'm also a creative, so I would kind of like excuse it off, like, oh, I'm a creative, I'm not good with numbers, um, just so I could like hide from practical matters. But as my business began to grow, numbers began to matter more. And the way I dealt with taxes was not healthy. I would just basically throw my receipts and paperwork at my accountant. But this sort of hodgepodge mix of money trauma with cluelessness, because I felt like I never got a tax class in high school, so I didn't know my way around tax forms like a basic W-4. And so that with my lack of financial knowledge, and it caused a breaking point because my accountant dropped me. So after a scramble, I found another accountant, and then I forced myself to start reading my tax return and past tax returns, just so I could learn what I was like submitting to the IRS. And I started asking my new accountant questions, but I felt kind of stupid asking her questions I had just so many questions. So I started going to YouTube to look at tax videos. And I was kind of, getting an education through YouTube. And under one of the videos, somebody commented that they took an H&R Block tax class. So I looked it up, and I enrolled, and then it was 149 for 3 months of classes. It was the summertime when I signed up, and then in the fall, that's when the classes started. And it was a 3 month commitment. The classes met twice a week for 3 hours at a time. And there was a lot of reading. And here are some pictures of me reading that my husband took. So after each chapter, there was a test, and the scores are averaged, and I barely passed. To pass the class you have to get 70%, and I got 71. So even with my barely passing grade, H&R Block offered me a job, but I felt woefully unprepared. So I kept passing, but they kept asking, and they wouldn't take no for an answer. So they also said that they would train me and that they would have senior staff watching over me. So I thought, this would be a good experience. And it is during the slow seasons. So, because like during the winter, my business is really slow. So I thought, okay, this will be a great learning experience. And I decided I would take it with the promise to myself that I couldn't quit and I couldn't get fired. So, at the H&R Block office, I did get additional training, and I was paired with a mentor, which took the edge off, like, just my newbie status. And then everyone there was so nice. So after I got the hang of completing returns from walk-ins, I became confident around the tax forms. And then I made it to April 15th, and I was so proud of myself because I had achieved my goal, that I didn't quit and I didn't get fired. And I had an overall observation during that tax season, which is that most people are just as anxious and clueless as I was. And I still feel strongly that a tax class should be taught in high schools, but for whatever reason, it isn't. But the knowledge is out there. And in the end, I am really proud of myself for taking the tax class. because I read every chapter from the online tax class. And so now my brain is not intimidated by dense financial legalese. I slow down, I'll reread it, I'll read it several times until I know what it's saying. And also I know what tax forms are in my tax return. It's not Greek to me. So this new approach allowed me to apply it to my business tools. So when I go into my reports or my inventory or any of that stuff, it's not intimidating anymore. The mindset shift that from before was that I can't, and then it's now changed to like, I can figure this out. So that to me is invaluable, and it was worth the time and the fee because I have a new relationship with money. I no longer dread taxes, maybe just a little bit, and handling money has become less emotionally charged. I just approach numbers with an attitude of pragmatic problem solving, and that is a victory. Also, surprisingly, like looking back on the 3 months it took to take the class and the 3 months to be a tax associate at H&R Block, this detour time, it kind of has protected my creative time by conquering this like administrative dread I used to have. So while it felt like a lot of time to commit to this tax experience, it has saved me in future time that I would have wasted worrying about whatever I had to do. So this tax season, H&R Block tried to recruit me again, but I did not accept their offer because last year's job served its purpose. I wanted to get back to my usual yearly output of a book a year, and also I wanted to learn animation, which I am doing right now. So my takeaway is that knowledge is the antidote to financial anxiety and money trauma. And I really enjoyed the H&R Block tax class. I felt it was very invaluable, and I'll put a link below to go to the enrollment page. And then also, I guess I have to have a legal disclaimer that this is my experience and that you should consult a professional for your financial situation. Not that I gave you any tax advice, but you know, it's adjacent. So I wanted to be clean about that. But anyways, that's my experience working at H&R Block. Bye.